Beneath the Crimson Moon. Episode 1. The Girl Who Entered the Lost Kingdom. The village of Ashvale was famous for its peaceful farms, colorful markets, and the ancient forest that surrounded it. But everyone feared one place, the Whispering Woods. Legend said that once every 100 years, when the crimson moon rose into the sky, the forest came alive. Trees whispered forgotten names, rivers flowed backward, and a hidden kingdom appeared to those chosen by destiny. Most people laughed at the legend. Except Anya. At 19, Anya was brave, curious, and unlike anyone else in the village. Ever since she was a child, she had dreamed of a magnificent castle floating above the clouds, dragons circling golden towers, and a mysterious young man whose face she could never clearly remember. Every dream ended the same way. The young man would reach out to her and whisper, "Find me, before the crimson moon disappears." Then she would wake up with tears in her eyes. Strange discovery. On the morning of the Crimson Moon Festival, Anya helped her foster parents prepare bread and flowers for the celebration. Her foster father warned her again. Never enter the Whispering Woods tonight. No one who follows the crimson moon ever returns the same. Anya smiled politely but couldn't ignore the strange feeling pulling her toward the forest. That evening, the entire village gathered around bonfires, singing songs while children danced beneath lanterns. Suddenly, a silver fox with glowing blue eyes appeared at the edge of the crowd. No one else seemed to notice it. The fox stared directly at Anya before silently walking toward the forest. Almost as if it was waiting for her. Unable to resist, she followed. Into the Whispering Woods. The deeper Anya walked, the quieter everything became. The sounds of the festival disappeared. The trees grew taller. Blue flowers began glowing beneath her feet. Tiny lights floated through the air like stars. Then, the silver fox stopped before an enormous stone arch covered in glowing runes. The crimson moon reached the center of the sky. The runes began shining. A low rumble echoed through the forest. A circular portal of swirling red and gold light slowly opened inside the arch. The fox stepped through it, then vanished. Anya hesitated. Something inside her whispered, "You've been waiting your entire life for this." Taking a deep breath, she stepped into the portal. A world beyond imagination. The ground disappeared beneath her. She felt herself falling through endless light. Then, she landed softly on emerald grass. When she looked up, her breath caught. Before her stood a kingdom unlike anything she had ever imagined. Crystal towers reached into the clouds. Massive waterfalls flowed through floating islands. Golden dragons circled the sky. Magic shimmered everywhere. She whispered, "This place is real." Suddenly, whip, an arrow landed inches from her foot. More arrows surrounded her. A dozen armored soldiers emerged from the trees. One shouted, "Human, don't move." Before Anya could answer, chains of glowing blue magic wrapped around her wrists. The prince arrives. The soldiers escorted her into a magnificent castle. Inside the throne hall stood a young man dressed in black and silver armor. His blue eyes were calm yet powerful. Prince Kael. The moment his eyes met Anya's, time seemed to stop. A strange warmth spread through both of them. Neither understood why. Kael slowly walked toward her. The closer he came, the stronger the feeling became. Then, he gently touched her hand. A blinding flash exploded around them. Both suddenly saw the same vision. A battlefield covered in flames. A beautiful queen dressed in white. A young king holding her hand. A dragon flying overhead. And the king whispering, "Even if the world forgets us, I will find you in every lifetime." The vision ended. Both stumbled backward in shock. Before either could speak, the castle shook violently. A terrifying roar echoed across the kingdom. Dark clouds swallowed the crimson moon. Far away, inside a black fortress, a woman with glowing red eyes slowly opened them. She smiled. She's finally returned. Beneath the Crimson Moon. Episode 2. The Forgotten Promise. The throne room fell into complete silence. Anya and Prince Kael stared at each other, both shaken by the mysterious vision they had just shared. Neither of them understood why they had seen the same battlefield, the same dragons, or why the king in the vision had spoken those haunting words. The captain of the royal guard stepped between them. "Your Highness, this human is dangerous. No outsider has entered Eldoria in over 1,000 years. Kael couldn't explain it, but every instinct told him Anya was not an enemy. "Remove her chains," he ordered. The guards hesitated. "Did you not hear me?" Kael said, his voice firm. Reluctantly, the magical chains disappeared. A kingdom of wonders. Kael offered to show Anya around Eldoria instead of keeping her imprisoned. As they walked through the kingdom, Anya was overwhelmed by its beauty. Floating gardens drifted through the sky. Crystal bridges connected towering castles. Children laughed as they rode young dragons through the air. Merchants sold glowing fruits, enchanted crystals, and magical flowers that changed color when touched. Everywhere she looked, people stared at her with curiosity. Some whispered, "She looks just like the Lost Queen." Others quickly looked away, afraid to say more. The Hall of Memories. Kale led Anya to the oldest place in the kingdom, the Hall of Memories. Inside stood hundreds of enormous paintings that told the history of Eldoria. Kings, queens, heroes, dragons, great battles. At the very end of the hall hung a giant painting covered by a silk curtain. The old royal historian slowly pulled it aside. Anya froze. The painting showed a young queen with long dark hair, emerald eyes, and a silver crown. She looked exactly like Anya. Standing beside her was King Orion, who looked exactly like Prince Kale. The historian's hands trembled. The prophecy, it was true. The ancient curse. The old historian gathered everyone around an ancient stone table covered in glowing symbols. He opened a massive book that had not been touched for centuries. Inside was the story of Eldoria's greatest tragedy. Long ago, King Orion and Queen Lyra ruled alongside dragons and brought peace to all kingdoms. But Orion's sister, Lady Morwen, desired the throne. Consumed by jealousy, she turned to forbidden shadow magic. She betrayed her own family. On the night of the Crimson Moon, she cast a terrible curse. The kingdom vanished from the human world. The royal couple were separated through time. Their souls would be reborn again and again. Always finding each other, always losing each other before the curse could be broken. The historian looked directly at Anya. "You are Queen Lyra reborn." He turned toward Kale. "And you are King Orion." Neither of them could believe what they had heard. The Shadow Queen awakens. Far beyond Eldoria, beneath a mountain of black stone, lay a dark fortress. Inside, thousands of shadow creatures knelt before a throne. Upon it sat Lady Morwen. Her once beautiful face was now scarred by centuries of dark magic. She watched Anya through a magical mirror. Her lips curled into a cruel smile. So, destiny has brought them together once again. She stood. The shadows around her came alive. "This time, I won't merely separate them." Her eyes glowed blood red. "I will destroy them forever." A night under the crimson moon. Unable to sleep, Kale found Anya standing alone on a castle balcony, gazing at the crimson moon. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Kale asked softly, "Do you believe what the historian said?" Anya looked at him. "I don't know, but when I'm with you, it feels like I've known you forever." Kale smiled for the first time in years. At that exact moment, a warm breeze carried glowing silver petals through the air. For an instant, the world felt peaceful. Then, a deafening roar echoed across the kingdom. The castle walls shook. The sky darkened. Hundreds of winged shadow beasts burst from the clouds. The city bells rang in alarm. The captain shouted, "The shadow army has returned." Kale instantly drew his glowing sword. He turned to Anya. "Stay behind me." But before she could answer, one of the shadow beasts dove straight toward her. Beneath the Crimson Moon. Episode 3. The hunt begins. The monstrous shadow beast plunged from the sky, its glowing red eyes locked on Anya. "Run!" Kale shouted. He leapt between Anya and the creature, drawing his enchanted sword. The beast's razor-sharp claws crashed into the marble floor, sending shards of stone flying. Kale blocked the attack, but the force threw him across the throne room. The shadow army poured into the castle. The once peaceful halls of Eldoria erupted into chaos. The fall of the palace. Royal guards fought bravely against hundreds of shadow creatures. Dragons soared through the skies, breathing streams of blue fire as citizens rushed toward underground shelters. King Aldrin, Kale's father, ordered the gates sealed. Protect the kingdom, no matter the cost. But the Shadow Queen had only one goal. "Bring me the girl." A giant winged beast smashed through the palace ceiling and reached for Anya. Kale grabbed her hand. "Trust me." Together they jumped from a collapsing balcony onto the back of a young silver dragon. The dragon spread its wings and escaped into the night as the burning palace disappeared behind them. Through the Whispering Forest. The dragon landed deep within the ancient Whispering Forest, where no shadow magic could easily enter. The forest glowed with blue flowers, crystal streams, and ancient trees whose branches shimmered with magical light. For the first time since escaping, Anya and Kale had a moment to breathe. Anya looked at the burning kingdom in the distance. "People are suffering because of me." Kale gently shook his head. "No, they're fighting because they believe you're the hope we've waited for." A growing bond. As they continued through the forest, they spoke honestly for the first time. Kale admitted he had spent his entire life preparing to be a king but had always felt incomplete. Anya shared how she never truly felt she belonged in her village, as though part of her heart had always been searching for somewhere else. Kale smiled. Maybe, it was searching for me. Anya laughed softly. For the first time, the fear between them faded. The ambush. Suddenly, the forest fell silent. Even the birds stopped singing. Kale's expression changed. We're not alone. Dark vines burst from the ground. Shadow wolves surrounded them. Behind them emerged the largest creature yet, a towering beast with horns, glowing crimson eyes, and claws as long as swords. It spoke in a deep, terrifying voice. The Shadow Queen commands your surrender. Kale stepped forward. Then she'll be disappointed. A fierce battle began. Kale fought with unmatched skill, but the creatures kept coming. One shadow wolf lunged at Anya. Instinctively, she raised her hand. A burst of brilliant golden light exploded from her palm, throwing every shadow creature backward. Everyone froze. Even Anya stared at her own glowing hands. What was that? The dragon's arrival. A mighty roar echoed through the mountains. The ground trembled. A colossal golden dragon descended from the clouds, its scales shining like molten gold. Instead of attacking, it lowered its head before Anya. In a deep, ancient voice, it spoke, "Welcome home. Your Majesty." Kale looked at Anya in stunned silence. The dragon continued, "The time has come to awaken the blood of the Dragon Queen." Far away, inside her dark fortress, the Shadow Queen smiled. So, the dragon has found her. Her eyes blazed with crimson fire. Prepare the next phase of the hunt. Episode 4. The Dragon's Secret. The enormous golden dragon lowered its head before Anya. The ancient forest fell completely silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. Anya looked around in disbelief. Your Majesty, you must have mistaken me for someone else. The dragon slowly raised its glowing amber eyes. No, Princess Lyra, I have waited for your return for 1,000 years. Kale stared at Anya, unable to speak. The last dragon guardian. The dragon introduced himself. I am Orion, the last guardian dragon of Eldoria. Long ago, Orion had sworn an oath to protect the royal family and the dragon crown. After the Shadow Queen's betrayal, he hid deep within the Whispering Forest, waiting for the rightful queen to return. Orion gently touched Anya's forehead with one of his glowing horns. A flood of memories rushed into her mind. She saw herself as Queen Lyra, flying across the skies on Orion's back, bringing peace between dragons and humans. She saw children laughing in the palace gardens and King Orion, Kale in a past life, placing the dragon crown upon her head. Then came fire, the Shadow Queen's betrayal, the kingdom burning, the curse. Anya gasped and fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. I remember everything. The Temple of Flames. Orion led Anya and Kale through hidden mountain caves to the legendary Temple of Flames, where the first Dragon Queen had received her powers. Inside the temple stood 7 crystal pillars, each glowing with a different color: courage, wisdom, compassion, strength, hope, loyalty, sacrifice. At the center floated the dragon heart crystal, pulsing like a living heart. Orion spoke solemnly, only the true Dragon Queen can awaken the dragon heart. The trial begins. As Anya stepped toward the crystal, the temple trembled. A voice echoed through the chamber. Only one worthy of dragons may claim this power. The floor vanished beneath her. She found herself standing in an illusion. She saw her foster parents calling for help as flames surrounded their home. Then she saw Kale chained by shadow magic, begging her to save him. Finally, she saw the people of Eldoria crying out in fear. A voice whispered, "You can only save one." Anya closed her eyes. No. The voice grew louder. Choose. She stood firm. A true queen never chooses one life over another. She finds another way. The illusions shattered into thousands of glowing sparks. The dragon heart crystal blazed with golden light. The Dragon Queen awakens. The crystal floated toward Anya. It merged into her chest. Golden dragon markings spread across her arms like living fire. Her emerald eyes began glowing. A pair of magnificent golden wings of magical energy appeared behind her. Outside the temple, the sky erupted with golden light visible across all of Eldoria. Every dragon in the kingdom lifted its head and roared in unison. Orion smiled proudly. The Dragon Queen has returned. The Shadow Queen's wrath. Far away, in her fortress of black stone, the Shadow Queen watched through her enchanted mirror. The golden light reflected in her crimson eyes. Her smile disappeared. With one furious strike, she shattered the mirror. Enough. Dark lightning exploded around her throne. She summoned her generals. Awaken the Black Dragon. The generals froze. My queen. If the Black Dragon is released, it could destroy everything. She replied coldly, then let the world burn. Deep beneath the fortress, massive chains began to crack. A terrifying roar echoed from the darkness. Something ancient, and far more dangerous than the Shadow Queen herself, had awakened. Episode 5. The Black Dragon Rises. A roar unlike anything the world had ever heard shook the mountains. It wasn't just loud, it was ancient. The sound echoed across every kingdom, every forest, and every ocean. Dragons flying above Eldoria suddenly stopped, their wings trembling. Even Orion, the mighty guardian dragon, lowered his head. It cannot be. Deep beneath the Shadow Queen's fortress, the final chain snapped. The prison doors exploded outward. Two enormous crimson eyes slowly opened in the darkness. The black dragon was awake. The legend of Noctar. Orion gathered Anya and Kale around an ancient stone map. His voice was heavy with sorrow. Before humans and dragons lived together, there were two dragon kings. He pointed to two carvings. One was a magnificent golden dragon. The other was a colossal black dragon with obsidian scales. The golden dragon, Solarius, protected life. The black dragon, Noctar, desired absolute power. Thousands of years ago, Noctar tried to enslave both dragons and humans. The first dragon queen, with the help of Solarius, defeated him and imprisoned him beneath the Shadow Mountains. The prison was never meant to be opened. Orion looked at Anya. If Noctar reaches full strength, not even dragons will survive. Training the dragon queen. Knowing war was inevitable, Orion began training Anya. At first, she struggled to control her new powers. She accidentally summoned fire that melted stone. She created powerful gusts of wind without meaning to. She could even hear the thoughts of nearby dragons. Kale trained beside her every day. When Anya lost control, Kale was always there to steady her. One evening, after a difficult training session, Anya sighed. What if I'm not strong enough? Kale gently took her hand. Strength isn't what makes you a queen. She looked into his eyes. Then what does? Kale smiled. Your heart. For a moment, the world around them disappeared. They leaned closer and shared a gentle kiss beneath the glowing crimson moon. From a nearby cliff, Orion watched silently. At last, destiny begins to heal. The Shadow Queen's new army. Meanwhile, the Shadow Queen stood before Noctar. The black dragon was larger than any creature alive, his obsidian scales absorbing all light around him. His eyes burned like molten lava. Who dares awaken me? He growled. The Shadow Queen knelt. I offer you the world. Noctar laughed, a sound that shook the fortress. I do not share kingdoms. Without warning, he unleashed black flames, destroying half the throne room. The Shadow Queen barely survived. Realizing she could not control him, she changed her plan. She would use Anya as bait. The battle at Moonfall Lake. That night, Kale, Anya, and Orion reached the sacred Moonfall Lake, where the dragon crown was hidden. As Anya stepped toward the glowing water, hundreds of shadow soldiers emerged from the mist. Leading them was the Shadow Queen herself. You've caused me enough trouble, Lyra. Kale drew his sword. Orion spread his wings. The battle began. Golden dragon fire clashed against black magic. The sky lit with explosions. Anya fought bravely, protecting innocent villagers trapped nearby. Just as victory seemed possible, the lake erupted. A massive black wing burst through the water. Noctar had arrived. His enormous shadow covered the entire battlefield. Every soldier, friend and foe alike, fell silent. The black dragon looked directly at Anya. Then, to everyone's shock, he spoke. Little queen, you have your mother's eyes. Anya froze. My mother? Noctar smiled, a frightening, mysterious smile. You've been lied to your entire life. The Shadow Queen stared in horror. No, don't tell her. Noctar's laughter echoed across the valley. Episode 6. The Queen's Greatest Secret. The battlefield froze. The black dragon's words echoed across Moonfall Lake. You've been lied to your entire life. Anya's heart pounded. What do you mean? She demanded. The Shadow Queen screamed, silence. Kill her now. Shadow soldiers charged, but Noctar spread his enormous wings. A single blast of black fire forced everyone back. Even the Shadow Queen dared not move. The truth about Anya. Noctar lowered his massive head until his glowing crimson eyes met Anya's. You believe you were an orphan? Anya nodded slowly. You weren't. A magical image appeared in the air. 20 years earlier, Queen Lyra gave birth to a baby girl during the final battle against the Shadow Queen. As the castle burned, Orion carried the newborn away while King Orion stayed behind to protect the kingdom. To save the child, Orion placed a magical seal on her dragon blood, hiding her powers and memories. He left her in the human world, where a kind farming couple raised her as their own. Tears filled Anya's eyes. My foster parents, they knew? Orion stepped forward. No, they loved you as their daughter. They protected you without ever knowing who you truly were. Anya realized that the family who raised her had given her a life filled with love, even without knowing her destiny. Kale's hidden memory. The vision continued. Young Prince Kale, only 6 years old, watched Orion disappear into a glowing portal carrying the baby. Before the portal closed, the little prince whispered, "I'll find you, no matter how long it takes." Kale suddenly clutched his head. More memories returned. He remembered waiting every crimson moon for the princess who never came home. He looked at Anya, tears in his eyes. "I never stopped waiting." Anya embraced him. For a brief moment, the war disappeared. The Shadow Queen's confession. The Shadow Queen laughed bitterly. "Yes, I cursed the kingdom, but I wasn't the one who started this war." Everyone turned toward her. She pointed at Noctar. "He manipulated me. He filled my heart with jealousy and promised me power." Noctar smiled coldly. "Jealousy already lived inside you. I merely gave it a voice." Realizing she had been used for centuries, the Shadow Queen's confidence shattered. A new alliance. Noctar spread his wings, dark clouds swirling above him. "Humans, dragons, shadows, all of you are weak." He unleashed a blast of black fire that struck both the Shadow Army and Eldoria's warriors. Friend and enemy alike were thrown to the ground. The Shadow Queen looked at Anya. "If we keep fighting each other, he'll destroy us all." Anya hesitated. Kale nodded. Sometimes the greatest enemy forces old enemies to become allies. For the first time in 1,000 years, Anya and the Shadow Queen stood side by side. Not as friends, but as allies against a far greater evil. The final warning. Noctar rose into the stormy sky. His roar shook every kingdom. "When the next crimson moon reaches its highest point, I will cover this world in eternal darkness." With one powerful beat of his wings, he disappeared into the clouds. Lightning flashed across the heavens. Orion looked at Anya. "The final crimson moon is only 7 days away." Anya tightened her grip on the dragon crown. She looked at Kale, then at the Shadow Queen. "Then we have 7 days to save our world." As everyone prepared for the greatest battle in history, a mysterious hooded figure watched from the ruins of the battlefield. The stranger whispered, "The true heir has awakened. Now the phoenix must rise." The figure vanished in a burst of golden flames. Episode 7. The Rise of the Phoenix. Golden flames danced across the ruined battlefield. The mysterious hooded figure stepped from the fire without a single burn. As the hood fell back, everyone gasped. It was a young woman with long crimson gold hair, glowing amber eyes, and a cloak woven from fiery feathers. Orion bowed his head. "Lady Seraphine, the last Phoenix Guardian." Even the Shadow Queen looked stunned. "I thought the phoenixes were extinct." Seraphine smiled. "We disappeared, because the time wasn't right." The ancient prophecy. Seraphine led Anya, Kale, Orion, and the Shadow Queen to the hidden Temple of the Eternal Flame, a sanctuary concealed inside a volcano that had slept for 1,000 years. At its center stood a circular chamber surrounded by murals depicting dragons and phoenixes flying together. Seraphine placed an ancient scroll on a stone altar. As it unfurled, glowing words appeared. "When the crimson moon darkens for the final time, the Dragon Queen and the Phoenix Guardian must unite, or the eternal shadow will consume every kingdom." Anya frowned. Then why wasn't this prophecy revealed before? Seraphine looked toward Orion. "Because only after the Dragon Queen awakens can the Phoenix flame reveal itself." The final trial. Seraphine explained that Anya had awakened her dragon powers, but she still lacked the power to unite all life. To gain that strength, she would have to pass the trial of the heart. Inside the temple, Anya entered a chamber of living fire. The flames created visions of everyone she loved. Her foster parents, her childhood home, Kale, the people of Eldoria. Each vision cried out for help. A voice echoed through the chamber. "A queen who rules with fear will lose her kingdom. A queen who rules with love will never stand alone." Instead of trying to save only one person, Anya opened her heart and called upon everyone she loved. The golden dragon mark on her arm began to glow. The flames transformed into thousands of fiery birds that circled around her. A magnificent crown of golden fire appeared above her head. Seraphine smiled. "You have passed Noctar's dark plan." Meanwhile, Noctar flew to the Obsidian Peaks, where the earth itself bled rivers of molten rock. Using his black flames, he shattered the ancient seals imprisoning the creatures known as the Shadow Titans. Towering giants of stone and darkness emerged from beneath the mountains. Each was larger than a castle. Noctar roared, "March to Eldoria." The ground shook as an army unlike anything the world had ever seen began moving toward the kingdom. The last dragon flight. Back in Eldoria, dragons from every corner of the realm gathered in the skies. Red dragons, silver dragons, emerald dragons, ice dragons from the northern mountains. Orion flew before them. Today we do not fight for dragons alone. He looked toward the people gathered below. We fight for every child who deserves to see another sunrise. Thousands of dragons roared together, their voices shaking the heavens. Kale climbed onto Orion's back. Anya mounted her own golden dragon, Solara, whose scales shimmered like sunlight. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Dragon Queen led the United Dragon Legion. The battle begins. The armies met on the fields of dawn. Shadow titans smashed through mountains. Dragons rained fire from the skies. Phoenixes streaked overhead like blazing comets. Kale led the royal knights into battle. Anya soared above them, wielding the dragon crown. Golden flames burst from her hands, pushing back wave after wave of shadow creatures. But Noctar did not attack. He watched from a distant cliff, smiling. Then he whispered, "Now, the eclipse begins." The crimson moon slowly darkened. A freezing wind swept across the battlefield. One by one, the dragons began falling from the sky, their magic fading under the eclipse. Orion crashed to the ground. Solara cried out in pain. Anya felt her own powers weakening. Noctar spread his wings across the sky, covering the battlefield in darkness. He laughed. The age of dragons is over. As hope seemed lost, a brilliant beam of golden light burst from the horizon. An enormous army carrying banners from kingdoms across the world marched toward Eldoria. Leading them was an elderly king wearing the crest of Anya's human homeland. He raised his sword and shouted, "No one fights alone. Humans, dragons, and phoenixes united at last." Episode 8. Love Beyond Time. Anya awakens her full dragon powers through the strength of her love. She defeats the Shadow Queen and breaks the ancient curse. Kale returns to life as the kingdom is restored. The crimson moon fades, but this time Kale and Anya remain together forever as king and queen of Eldoria, with dragons soaring across the skies. Season ending. As they celebrate, a mysterious black dragon watches from distant mountains, hinting at a far greater danger in Season 2, a new beginning. The Shadow Army disappeared. The Shadow Titans crumbled into stone. The curse over Eldoria was finally broken. Sunlight poured across the kingdom. Flowers bloomed where battle had raged. Then, a warm golden light surrounded Kale. The ancient curse had been lifted completely. His eyes slowly opened. He took Anya's hand. "Looks like destiny isn't finished with us." She laughed through happy tears and embraced him. Cheers erupted across the kingdom. The coronation. Weeks later, Eldoria celebrated a new era. Anya was crowned Dragon Queen of Eldoria. Kale became king of the United Realms. The Shadow Queen, having redeemed herself, chose to leave the throne forever and guard the ancient shadow gates so darkness could never escape again. Orion became High Guardian of all dragons. Seraphine restored the Phoenix Order. Humans and magical creatures signed the Treaty of the Crimson Moon, promising peace for generations. As Anya and Kale stood on the palace balcony, thousands of dragons soared through a clear blue sky. Kale smiled. "Do you think our story is finally over?" Anya looked toward the horizon. A tiny silver dragon landed in her arms and chirped happily. She smiled back. "No, I think it's only just beginning."